People's Voice, 97.7, The Heat.
WKSH 97.7 The Heat. What's going on? I know it's hot out there, everybody. Let me take these head things off. That's going crazy right there. Yeah, I know what it is. It is what it is. It's hot outside. It's about 100 degrees out there, so you better make sure you tighten your wigs down and put some make sure you got some cold water under that wig or something, you know what I'm saying? It's 97.7 The Heat. We got to do something else because it's hot out there, buddy. Hey, y'all, I'm riding out there. I ain't got no air in my truck. And I'm riding down there, man. I got my head out the window trying to drive because I'm trying to cool off, you know what I'm saying? Then Milton got the nerves. Him and his daughter got the nerves. Wait a minute, who calling me already? Hold on, man. Oh, Lord. We got WKSH 97.7. I ain't saying nothing yet. What's going on? I'm riding out there. I ain't got no air. You already on the live air. I'm riding down there, man. I got my head out the window trying to drive. Yeah, call me back then. Who's calling? I'm saying, then Milton got the nerves. Him and his daughter got the nerves. Oh, Lord. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Hold on, man. WKSH 97.7. I ain't saying nothing yet. What's going on? Y'all working me at the depot over here right now because, Lord have mercy, I'm trying to get everything together.
Already.
I'm already sweating. I'm inside a cold building. I'm sweating already, Milton. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I got Milton Carroll, high risk behavior coach. That's what I call him, high risk behavior coach. He might not be a coach. What are you, Milton? Y'all working me at the depot.
That's a good title. You know,
life coach. That's what I call him, life coach. That's good enough, Milton?
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Man, this guy been going around to so many different schools, different parks, recreation centers, everywhere, trying to give our kids some life skills. And it's been very difficult for him. I'm putting it out there first, Milton. You ain't got to say that because I don't want you to incriminate yourself in no kind of way. But I'm just saying, I know for a fact he a good friend of mine. He worked for the coroner department at one time.
I'm still there.
You still there, Milton? Okay.
Still there.
Hey, don't come looking for me. That's all I can tell you.
If I do, you won't know.
No. As long as I know, hey, you better than Chris. Chris was working with the morgue. He was going to picking up the bodies, and he told me he could smell them. And I say, dude, do not come around me and smell. Don't be trying to smell me, dude, because I know for a fact, no, I ain't ready to go.
Well, that's one thing. If I come, I'm going to pray and ask God, you sure it's this time? I'll try and pray you back before I zip you up.
You better be crying. Look at me. You better be crying. If you ain't crying, I'm gonna get up out the morgue. I'm gonna get up out the back on you. WKSH 97.7. But like I said, man, we got high risk behavior. Mr. Milton Carroll in the house, Junior the third. Milton, I'm the third.
You the third, man. Yeah. You know that, man. We know each other all our life, man.
Man, I'm the third, man.
Wow.
I ain't no junior. Even though that's on my license, they told a story. I'm the third.
Golly.
But man, we had him here, man, and Milton, explain your organization so they can know exactly what's going on.
Okay. First of all, my name is Milton Carroll. Probably need to do a little history just to tell how the organization came about. Currently, I've worked as an investigator for the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office as a death investigator for the last 17 and a half years, which consists of responding to the death scene, finding out what led to the person's death, finding out, what all took place before they died or before their life was taken. So over the years of working these deaths, homicides, suicides, accidents, you start seeing all the common factors involved in the death. And I know, I'm not going to say I felt, but I know that the Lord really started dealing with me about talking to the youth about solutions. Because if you see the common factors, all you need to do is remove those common factors and you'll prevent it. So, I hesitated about it for about a month. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Until I went to a scene and I went in the house and I saw a boy and he looked identical to my son.
What?
And when I saw it, man, it just paralyzed me. It was like, man, I was just paralyzed. I mean, it was just the numb feeling. I mean, I thought this was my child. It was, laying down here.
Right.
It was to the point where I even called Natchitoches, just to double check, but it wasn't him. But it was in that moment that I got the feeling of what a parent feels like if they lose a child prematurely. If they had a child that died as a result of a homicide, which, we've had many here in Shreveport. We're up to 45 homicides as of right now for this year. But like I said, after that, then I was like, okay, all right, I see what that parent felt like. So, like I said, after seeing all these preventable deaths, then it lit a fire underneath me. The organization was started to reach at-risk youth. Nowadays, everybody's at risk concerning the kids. It used to be only the ones that were from the communities that were financially,
right,
in the lower brackets, but now it's all the youth.
Right.
So it's geared toward reaching out to the teens, and in order to prevent premature deaths. And when I'm talking about premature deaths, I'm talking about anything other than a natural death. I'm talking about homicides, suicide, accidents, overdose. So what I do, like you said, I go to different schools, different communities, events, churches, colleges. I've even spoken over at Barksdale Air Force Base, Disney, Grambling, UAPB, just different areas where you're going to have youth and young people and educating them on high-risk behavior.
Right.
And the thing about it, like when I talk with them, so often what they call fun, actually a lot of times ends up being death in disguise until it costs them their lives.
Wow, that's crazy. So, Bill, let me ask you, they really don't report young people homicides, right?
Yeah,
do they report it?
The only thing that they don't make public are the suicides.
I mean, suicides. I'm sorry, that's what I meant with suicide.
And within the black community, there's always that myth that black people don't kill themselves, which that ain't the truth. We have suicides within the black community also.
Do you experience a lot of high schoolers or college students that may die from suicide?
We've had an increase in them within like the last, I'll say, 4 years. And a lot of times it's relationship involved in it, girlfriend, boyfriend type dynamics. He left me or she left her.
Wow.
And you'd have the letters where they couldn't deal with it. And so those are things that we talk about during these presentations, because the thing is, when people are suicidal, they feel like they have a problem that there's no answer to.
Right.
So the only thing they feel I can do is take my life, But the thing is that we know that there's an answer to every problem. There's no problem. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
So what you're going through, somebody's already been through that. So it's kind of like up to you to try and find somebody that's got that answer, And a lot of times, I'll recommend ministers, because a lot of times when they do counseling to different members, they've had somebody that's had the same problem that you have. So you may go in and say, hey, I got this right here going on, and I just don't know where to go. And it's like, they say, wait a minute, hold on, I got brother such a, that same problem. Matter of fact, his problem was twice as worse than yours. Right. And so within a matter of minutes, he's connected you with somebody that had the same problem, and they're walking you through it. So it may have been hopeless for a few minutes, but now you're like, okay, I got the solution, I got the answer. So
I want to say this. So we're looking at peer pressure, drinking, bullying, suicides, hazing, and other challenges that happen with our kids these days. And Milton been trying to actually go into the school systems around CARROll and out CARROll, Bolger, wherever. And he's been actually trying to get into those school systems and talk to the kids and share with them about what he's trying to teach them for his life, what is it? Life skills. Life skills.
Yeah.
And I have did a couple of events with him over at Southern Hill.
Yes.
And it's a great thing, man. Your kids really need to get this. And I'm really disappointed in CARROll, because CARROll has not really responded, but we're having more homicides, we're having carjackings, we're having all these different things. These young kids dying, and CARROll has not responded to this young man, and because you ain't in the clique or you ain't down with the frats or the associations, organizations, they don't care about it. But your kids are suffering from that, and I want you to understand that they are suffering because there is help out there for them. But we are denying the help in CARROll.
Yeah, I've run into, man, I've gone to multiple schools, spoken with the principals. And, I don't think the parents will believe the answers that I've gotten, well, we don't have time for that right now. We've got standardized tests coming up at the end of the year, so we can't afford to take them out of class for 1 hour. But wait a minute, I just saw your school make it to the state playoffs, so all of a sudden now you got a unscheduled pep rally that you got time for, But and as a matter of fact, I spoke with one principal that I was trying to get into the school. I'm not going to name them, but I was trying to get into school, and he told me they didn't have time. So later that week, I had one of his students that died in a homicide. I went back to tell him about it the morning after the homicide took place, and he started running around I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm trying to get grief counselors ready and this and that. But you got time to get grief counselors and bring them in, but you don't have time for prevention.
After the fact.
Yeah.
After the fact.
So, like I said, I really feel like a lot of times that as administrators or at these facilities, you don't have kids within those age groups, so you don't see the need in it.
Right.
But these kids go home to these environments and these challenges, and they face some on campus. The peer pressures,
right,
conflict, so they know how to resolve conflict.
Right.
And they always had this myth that we're gonna fight at this time, and and
they use social media to do that. They use Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat with all these different organizations or networks. They use them to meet up and fight and do different things. I done seen it before.
And like people. Fight is a lost art nowadays. Because if I lose the fight, I'm going to reaching in the trunk.
I'm going in the trunk.
Yeah. So during the presentation, I talk about a lot of common factors involved in that, and even talking about how if a person is really so-called your brother's keeper, you're not gonna let them get involved in this.
Right.
So we talk about how at these different cases where I've been, how I interview the friends of the person that died, and the first thing they say is, man, something told me to go and take him and leave. And then I talked with the next friend. He said, yeah, man, something told me to get all three of them to go. So there's always these pivotal moments that these warnings hit before destruction takes place.
Right.
And, and so during these presentations, we give out all these common factors. So when they start seeing them and hearing them, they'll know how to respond. Because if you got the answers before the test come, you can't help but to pass.
Right.
So I think the biggest thing is that our kids don't know how to respond. Kind of almost like the deer in the headlight, But you just start practicing. You start practicing these different exit strategies, And if you're riding in the car right now with your child, just look at your child and ask him, hey, if you went over to Tim's house and he pulled the gun out, what would you do?
Right.
If you don't have an answer for you right now, straight off the top of his head, that's exactly what he's gonna do when Tim pulls that gun out.
He in trouble. Yeah.
So we talk about different things like using your cell phone to remove yourself from these situations. Everybody has a cell phone. They're somewhere and something's going on and they need to remove themselves from this situation and so-called save face at the same time. Act like your mom's texting you on the phone. Get that little phone like, hey man, hold up, man. Oh man. Hey mom, how you doing? Oh, I forgot you got to go to work. I'm headed over there now. So little simple things like that will remove them from those situations that will easily cost them their lives.
Man, for those that may have come on a little later, we're dealing with Milton Carroll and his high risk behavior, and he's a coach to me. I call him a life coach. He tried to teach the young kids exactly which way to go and how to make better decisions in crazy times. And what's really bothering me is that we're having so many different homicides and so many kids dying until we should have more and more people like Milton that's teaching our kids or trying to train our kids how to even deal with police, how to even deal not just each other, but police and different authority figures as well. But the parents, we got to have some kind of accountability with this. The schools got to have some kind of accountability with it because the kids are at least 8 to 9 hours and not longer in school.
Exactly.
And school finna start again. And we still do not have these programs in the place. Milton was telling me about what you said it was, Milton, where the troubled kids go out, in school.
Oh, in school suspension. Yeah. One of the excuses that I run into a lot of is that we don't have time. We can't pull them out of class, out of the learning environment. So I came up with a solution for that. I said, I tell you what, well, let me come and talk to the kids that are in school suspension. You know, for the teachers that work with in school suspension, you know, they're not doing nothing but tic-tac-toe and, you know, sitting there in their class contained. So those are your kids that are already troubled. Those are your kids that you're already having problems with. So allow me to come in and talk with them, you know, make them aware of what's taking place, you know. And you know, and I get well, we'll get back with you. I'm like, okay. So and mind you, this is free service. This is free. I'm not trying to make any money off of Cattle Parish. I'm just concerned about our kids and the lives of our kids, you know. And the thing about it, you just think about it. You know, what's invested in your child? You know, I asked parents on a survey, what was their biggest investment? You know, and I would get answers like my car, my house, my 401k, my stocks, my bonds. But if you look, if you just consider your child, you know, and the number of hours that you invest, that your child is in your care, you know, for a year. So for a year, that comes up to about 8,760 hours a year. So then you consider that you're going to raise that child for 18 years. So that comes up to about 157,000 hours. So then you multiply that by minimum wage, because, you know, we do go to work. Time does have a value. So you multiply that times that 157,000 hours, you come up with $1,379. So then you start accounting for medical, dental, clothing, hobbies, sports, food, vacation. You know, by the time you add all that up for 18 years, your child's going to be a $3.5 million investment.
Wow.
And that's at a single parent home. So with two parents, you might as well double that. Right. So you got a multi-million-dollar investment, your child, and your child doesn't, you know, has low self-esteem. But no, you're a multi-million-dollar investment. Don't look crazy when these basketball players or football players get these $1 million contract. You're a multi-million-dollar investment right here.
Right, in your own kids, in your own household.
So the thing about it, when you have something of value like that, what do you do with it to protect it? You insure it.
Right.
Your appliances, your car, your house, everybody gets insurance on it to protect it. So the only insurance that our children have is education in these areas concerning life skills, because I value education. I value multiplication, division, math, English, and all that. But I can't tell you the last time I saw square root stop a drive-by. I can't tell you the last time I saw pi stop a drive-by. So everything has its place, but it's like it's just so one-sided now.
Right. Well, it's one-sided because a lot of the parents and a lot of the Cattle Parish School and a lot of them, they're not taking the responsibility of getting these kids trained or understanding the situations they're in.
I've actually had administrators tell me it's not our job to teach them that. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Wow, it just blew my mind. It's not your job to teach kids life skills. That's something they're supposed to learn at home. Well, okay, if they're not learning it at home, does that mean that they don't need it?
Well, what they gonna bring? They gonna bring it to the school?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know what? That's one reason why Milton is on here with high risk behavior, because I feel he's not getting a just due in the city, in that we are having more and more problems with our kids. And we're not ready to, a lot of us are not even ready to even, even handle the situation. Because a lot of us are working, a lot of parents are working, doing all they can do, just try to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Or do different things. So why not have someone that can actually fill that void and try to help out? That's the biggest thing for me, Milton.
You know, I just feel like a lot of people feel like, okay, that their children are already getting this information, you know. And then you think about it, the DARE program is only in junior high school.
Right.
High school students don't even have any type of program, or so, you know, it's like, and that's that group, you know.
Well, you know, DARE back in the day, I mean, it was cool because it was in school when we was in school. But it's a little bit more serious now with all the different social medias and TV showing our subliminal messages of and music and stuff like that, and we need to have it more on a regular basis to help the kids, because you're letting them listen to any and everything.
Yeah.
You know, if we have a call, if anyone want to call in, you can call 318-779-0459. Once again, that's 318-779-0459. You can call and you can give a suggestion, or you can ask Mr. Carroll a question. And once again, we're with high risk behavior. And this is Milton Carroll, and he actually have a company. What would you call it? A company or organization?
Organization.
An organization.
It's a living organism.
And it's trying to help our kids, and that's where we're at right now, because they really don't have a lot of help for us you try to teach them how to solve problems in school for as school work and stuff like that, but you're not helping them solving the problems in their everyday life, walking home.
We had multiple homicides the last school year,
right?
That were results of students walking home and involved in conflicts. So,
and I remember that deal when you was talking about, because I remember Booker T. Washington students and Huntington students that were involved into that problem in Lakeside.
Yes,
a little while back. Yes. But that ain't just that. That ain't just that. You can look at the Cooper Road right now. How the situation happened in the Cooper Road. These are young people, y'all. This is what we're talking. I don't care if they're young adults or teenagers or whatever. Man, we got to teach them something. We got to show them what they need to, just help out. And then a lot of us as adults, we moving away from it because we like, well, they ain't listening or they hard headed. I'm scared of getting this. Hey, man, well, they might get you one day.
And this is my thing, I approve 100% of the prayer vigil, the marches, and all of that. But that needs to be something to put in place and in action after the march, after the protest.
Right.
After the community comes together, it needs to be something to be put in place. And I actually had the representative for MAD that covers this region. She called and asked me, "How are you getting into schools?" And I'm like, "It's a challenge. It's a challenge for me also." So it's just not me, So that there's organizations that are trying to get in to help, to help the kids, to help the students, and
I know
the parents just don't know, that people are trying to get in to help.
Right, and they worry about test scores. That's what's crazy to me. They worry about test scores and keeping their jobs. So we losing kids.
So let me ask you, what good is somebody that makes all A's but only lives to the 12th grade?
Wow.
To help the kids, to help the students.
That's crazy, man. That is so crazy. And you know what? And another thing to me, Milton, is that why is it so hard for him to get in the school system? Why is it so hard? Why people are making it so difficult? Is it pay, Milton? Or do they?
I'm not asking for pay. I've never mentioned money. I've made different suggestions coming in during the gym, PE. They have to have help during it. So at some point, they start talking about the body and health. Right. So there's ways, but is it something that you want, or do you see the value in it?
And I'm telling you just like this. I don't care what you say. The school board got $61 million during COVID. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to tell me you don't have the money to where you can actually help this organization to help you? That don't make sense to me, Milton.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm never going to sit back. Here at 97.7, one thing we do is we're trying to educate the community, educate the people, and let them know what's all going on and what's not going on. And me personally, I'm tired of just seeing, because you're not a part of these cliques, because you're not in the in crowd, or I'm tired of seeing this, man, because we are suffering. I'm talking from the council members to the commissioners to the mayor to whoever. The police chief, whoever. I don't care. I'm tired of seeing this, man, happen time and time again when people trying to help and not trying to get photo ops or be famous in the city or something, and they trying to help the kids really figure out because they trying to figure out. They trying to understand life.
Exactly.
And by them trying to understand life don't mean, because we didn't make all the best decisions in school.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? We did some crazy stuff in school. But you got somebody now just saying, I'm willing to give my time to assure your kids and help with your kids, and we don't even fight for it. Nah, that's ending now. So on 97.7 High Risk Behavior, we will try to have a show once a month to come in and bring people in, even if we have to bring kids in, and let them talk about and tell you what they're going through. Because maybe that would help if they can tell you what they're going through. If they can explain, along with Milton being the life coach there, can walk them through problems or walk them through situations or whatever. We got to do that, Milton.
Yeah, and also, school conflict is constant, even as an adult. So it's children that face it. The thing is that it's not offered to the students until they get involved in the fight and they get kicked out of school.
Right.
So now you got to attend a conflict resolution class after the fact instead of it being presented to them before.
Right, helping them to understand, and then we want them to act mature like mature adults, but they are kids. and they're gonna make stupid decisions. They're gonna do stupid stuff. But if you can help them think through it, just think through it and try to figure out and say, okay, slow down. Don't get mad because somebody step on your foot, or somebody step on your shoes,
or somebody corrects you.
Or somebody corrects you. Exactly.
They're correcting you because they love you. They care about you.
That's it.
And like I said, it just it when you start working these cases, and like I said, with these homicides, all of that is 100% preventable.
Right.
And so a lot of times, what kids get it twisted, unless you're talking with them, they think, because the parents said, hey, I need you in the house at this time right here every night.
Right.
15 to 16, well, I'm almost grown. Got me coming in at 10 o'clock. But no, your mom's trying to protect you.
Right.
And 90% of our homicides happen after that time. So she wants you in the house during that time,
Right. Philando Antoine, he tagged and he said, thank you for doing all the work that you're doing in the community. Please help us keep our kids safe. And also Miss Jacqueline Robinson, the fathers need to be in their lives, especially if they are not on drugs or alcohol, particularly. The pastors, she was saying something else about the pastors. It's a long text. But what we're saying is that, Jack, a lot of them are not there, and if they are there, they still need the help. Well, it doesn't eliminate them because the father or the mother is not there. If they are there, they still need their guidance, learning how to think.
And I know it's probably going to come up. Somebody's probably going to say, well, your program isn't certified and this and that, and we're just trying to protect the students from just anybody coming into the school speaking and talking. And my response to that is, okay, the program MAD, that's a nationally certified and recommended program across the nation.
Right.
Why are they having problems getting in there? So it just I think as a parent, those are questions they should be asking now at school. Hey, are y'all going to cover this topic right here concerning bullying? Are y'all going to cover this topic right here concerning peer pressure? And so what happens a lot of times, the federal government requires a school to cover certain topics.
Right.
But instead of them bringing somebody that's an expert in that field, you'll let Ms. Crabtree come in and talk about it for 5 minutes, and you say, yeah, we covered that topic, federal government.
Wow. So let me ask you this then, Mil. What qualifies you to do what you're doing? What would qualify you?
I've been an investigator for the coroner's office for right about 18 years. So I've worked over, I'll say at least 17,000 deaths,
Right.
So when you start to see these cases and things being investigated, you have privileged knowledge to all the common factors.
Right.
So once you start identifying all the common factors and make people aware of them and how they should respond when they see them,
right,
you can prevent all that. Everything's preventable. A lot of times for a while we were seeing a lot of the motor vehicle fatalities with multiple people dying in there.
Right.
But only the driver would be intoxicated. When they do the autopsy and the toxicology, only the driver was intoxicated. But you got 3 people in the back seat that were not impaired. Wow. But the thing is, peer pressure held them in the car. So if you can learn little simple exit strategies, hey man, can you pull over? I got to use the bathroom. And once you get out the car, don't get back in. Little simple things like that will remove them from those situations. So
what gets me though, man, is that they come up with all these different excuses. Because to me, that's an excuse. You're a man working with the coroner's office and been seeing all type of fatalities, deaths, all different things like that. That should qualify you enough. Because you ain't got to be qualified to be a city councilman. You ain't got to be qualified to be a commissioner.
Well, I'll say this right here. You trust me to zip them up in the bag and take them to the morgue, but you won't trust me to talk to them while they're alive.
Wow. Y'all heard that from Milton. Y'all, that's crazy, Milton. Well, man, like I said, man, we definitely going to pinpoint a time that we can do this every month to where we can sit back and we can talk about high risk behavior and how we can get kids involved. Hold on 1 second. We got a caller calling in. I heard that from Milton. Hey, how you doing? Well, man, like I said, I'm listening. This is WKSH 97.7. How you doing? Pinpoint a time that we can do this every month to where we can sit back and we can talk about high risk behavior and how we can get kids involved. Hold on 1 second. We got a caller calling in. Hey, how you doing? Well, man, I'm listening. This is WKSH 97.7. How you doing? Pinpoint a time that we can do this every month to where we can sit and talk about high risk behavior and how we can get kids involved. Hold on 1 second. We got a caller calling in.
Wow.
How you doing? I'm listening. This is WKSH 97.7. How you doing?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Wow.
Thank you. Right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know much about the streets, but I was just telling him that it was not right. But somehow, some way, he got away, and I think, well, at least I know it was a lot of peer pressure because he would have to be home before, a certain time, and he used to always say, "Well, Mama, they parents let them stay." I say, "I don't pay bills at those people's house, so they can do whatever."
You're right.
And they used to call my son a mama's boy,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
tried my best to shield my son as the best as I could, but
Right.
somehow, they he got away from me, and they got him. They
Yes, ma'am.
somebody introduced him to what he thought was good money, and it wasn't. And he's gone now. Lost him, found shot in the head, 2016 New Year's Eve, December the 31st. And he's gone. And it's a hurting feeling. He was my only son. So, again, you keep trying, and I make sure I lift you up in prayer
Yes,
and
ma'am.
everything that you could get in the schools or wherever you need to be to get it out.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
when I see young boys and stuff, I try to, tell them as much as I can, to explain to them and everything, because somehow, kids are just afraid
Yes, ma'am.
of talking.
Right.
And I think some of my trouble was I didn't listen enough.
Yes.
When he would try to talk to me, I didn't listen enough. But anyway, I tell any parent, if they are able to not to work 2 jobs, if you got a kid, don't work 2 jobs. Be at your home and invest, like you said, in your kids.
Right.
Because
Right.
when you be away from your home and you trying to work and stuff, they can't get away from you.
Right. You're right. Hey, we sorry for your loss, but I know for a fact God makes no mistakes, even though it may seem like it is. Just trust and believe in Him, and like you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? He will mend the broken heart, and how you're feeling and stuff like that. Just trust Him. That's all. Just trust Him.
And I want to say this right here too.
Oh, yeah,
Hey,
trust me.
we
That's
sorry
how
for
I'm
your
still
loss,
standing,
but,
because I
I
stand
know
on
for a
the,
fact God makes no mistakes.
on the grace
Even
of
though it may
God.
seem
And that's
like
how,
it is.
and I know I
Just
did.
trust and believe in
I
Him,
never
and-
missed a
and-
PTA
and
meeting.
like
I
you've
was
been
head
doing,
to
you know what I'm
school,
saying?
and
He will-
that's why I could
He
stand.
will,
And have, because I know I did the best as I could.
trust him. Right,
And I know I
right.
told my child,
And I wanna
and
say
he
this
knew
right
right
here,
from
too.
wrong, but
Right.
sometimes when of age, we don't know what we talking about,
Right,
and they
right.
know.
Exactly.
Everybody you run with ain't none of your friends.
That's
Exactly.
it. And that's like you're saying, that's the decisions that we make ourselves, and that's what me and Milton are trying to do. We're trying to prevent those type of decisions that they're making to make better decisions. Even with you being a parent, you doing your job, you're trying to show them the right way, but they still need that extra boost, that little extra help. You see what I'm saying? And that's like you said, that's the
Exactly,
decisions that we
exactly.
make
And everybody needs to pitch in, like back in the day, everybody pitched in and kind of helped your child when they saw things wasn't going right, but now, you can't tell people, kids, nothing. They want to get you and go, along with what the kids say instead.
Well, here at 97.7, we pitching in. We gonna tell them, just like you tell them, because they listening to you now.
Exactly.
And that's all we want to do. We want to give you a voice and everybody in the city a voice that want to pitch in and help. And we really appreciate you calling in and sharing your story with us, because it's so important that kids and other parents hear this, because we can stop the hurt. We can stop it. Just like
because I'm so tired. Ain't nobody blood pressure high but the black mothers and the black families. I'm just tired that we all can't, work together and just love one another, because
it's so important that
kids
and other parents hear this, because
instead of just trying to outdo one another, I'm claiming this food, I'm claiming that food, and all that old kind of stuff. And they don't want to tell nothing because they're nervous and scared and by snitching and all this old kind of stuff.
Right.
It just, it's just every weekend we going to a funeral, and we ain't at a funeral, we at a prayer vigil.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Just more than look like the more we more, the worse they get.
Hey, that's why we got to do something different. That's why Milton Carroll is really on here with high risk behavior, trying to, encourage people, man, to if we have to have our own what they call it, a town hall meeting here at the studio, to where people can come and bring their kids just to listen, just to hear something different. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
Hey, and we thank you for calling in, and we praying for you, and just keep your head up and keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you all as well, and y'all have a great evening.
You too, ma'am. That's WKSH 97.7. We're here with Milton Carroll with high risk behavior. And if you want to call, if you got any comments or anything you want to say, or just, pitch in, you can call 318-779-0459. And I just want you to know, man, that this guy been doing this a long time. He's a good friend of mine. He's a minister. On top of that, he's a father and grandkids, everything. So he has a lot to invest into our kids, into our communities also. So I want y'all to understand that this ain't no fly-by-night thing. This man been doing this how long, Milton?
Since 2011.
2011. He been trying to get into the school systems for a period of time, and it's just crazy to me, man, that we're having so many problems right now, but you can find time for pep rallies. You can find times for
crayon eating competition.
Yeah, you can find time for all of this, but you don't want to find time to give kids. You're teaching them problem solving every day to pass a test, but they can't pass life.
Can't solve problems on the street.
Come on, man.
Just go with the flow.
We got to do something different. And here at 97.7, we finna do something different, because we got to offer this to our kids. Because a lot of them, like you said, man, peer pressure is something else, bro. It is crazy, y'all. But I want to go back, because we are having more suicides than anything right now. And that's peer pressure still. That's still bullying. That's still people still doing things to them, and they taking their lives. They ain't just out taking other people's lives. They killing themselves. I just have to say it like it is, man. They killing themselves.
Yeah.
And if we gonna stand by and let that happen, man, no, we can't do that. What you gonna say, man? I'm sorry.
I was just saying that I've had a couple of teachers that have had students that I've talked to, and the parents, the children told them, the parents that what was going on at the school, and so the parents just kind of laughed it off. And I think a lot of times when people think about bullying, do you remember the old Popeye and Bluto?
Yeah,
they kind of think of that,
right?
Thinking that that's what the child's seeing, but in this child's mind that's going to school, they sit up here and face some massive, the Rock. Can you imagine having to face the Rock every day?
Right.
So mentally in this child's mind, that's who he's going to face every day. So it gets to the point where they just stop even going to school.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, when they finally feel like there's no way out, there's no escape. I've told my mom, I've told the coach,
Right.
And eventually end up leads to something like that. And when it could have been easily resolved,
Right.
I even saw one person tell a person that this child couldn't possibly be bullied because he's in martial art and he's a black belt.
Wow.
Now, what kind of foolishness is that? You know, that was an administrator that told. Not in Cattle Parish, it was another parish, but
Milton, you ain't gotta keep saying that. I'm here in Shreveport, Louisiana. We having problems, and we having problems with the school system as well as just on the streets daily. So I don't care what how it's going down. Anytime we offering a solution to the school systems and everybody else, and they're not following up on this, but you're seeing homicides. You're seeing kids going out doing heinous crimes. And these are kids. Yeah. I just had a car that was driven up into my parking lot. And so I came to work and I was looking, I said, man, there's a car here. I said, maybe somebody's car stopped. So I went to the community and I asked around the community and I asked the people, I say, hey, does this car belong to anybody that you know or anything like that? And so after a while, look, I ain't seen no license plate on it. I seen the car was just ramshacked inside. I said, no, this car's stolen. So I called the police department and they came and they ran prints and everything. So I got cameras. So I went back and we looked at the cameras. Do you know the kids that got out that car, Milton, was like 9, probably 12 years old, probably about 15 years old, a 15-year-old driving, and it was a girl involved.
Wow.
And some young kids was involved in stealing this car. But we turn around and that ain't my kid. Yeah, that is your kid. That's your kid out there with the guns. That's your kid bullying. You got to wake up and realize that sooner or later you're going to have to be accountable for your kids. They're going to have to be accountable for themselves. But more importantly, you're going to have to raise your kids.
Yeah.
Stop letting TV, stop letting music, stop letting all these different things raise your kids. Because you're seeing it. Go ahead, man. I'm taking over. Go ahead.
No.
My bad.
You're telling the truth. And the thing is that if you have a child that's living in your house, I don't care how old they are, you ought to be aware of everything that's in that house. You know, we've had cases that we've worked and, have taken multiple weapons out of there, and the first thing the parents said, that ain't his gun, that ain't his, man, we just pulled this up off of the mattress,
It's in your house.
In your house.
But Mill, I'm going to correct you on this. When we were coming up, we didn't have a door.
Oh, man.
Close the door to that room. See, and that's the difference with kids now. Parents are trying to let their kids be so free and have their own life. When I was coming up, man, you couldn't close that door. Mom and dad went through your things.
Oh, yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It wasn't you better hide it outside the house.
And this is the thing, like they tell us, what with the street lights, don't let the street lights beat you on. And they didn't use the correct grammar. So you kind of like, huh, what you said? And they just look at you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Let that light come on. Let that light catch you. You ain't in the yard or in the house. But Milton, another thing I wanted to say, do we have, and I'm putting you on the spot because I'm not sure myself, but do we have a curfew for kids? A certain age limit curfew?
I know that there's a curfew, but I'm not familiar exactly what it is. That there's definitely a curfew.
Right. We need to find out what that curfew is for kids at a certain age. I know when you're a teenager, when you 18 and above, that's on you. But below that,
yes,
I think it's a curfew for them being out, for us not with their parents, not being with their parents.
Guardian or something.
A guardian or something like that.
Yeah.
We need to find out what all that is because we need to educate the community also because I see a lot of kids over here in Ingleside walking around at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they 10, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing out at that time of the night?
And this is the thing, that one thing I point out to them. Just like your parents get up every morning, we have people that get up every night to victimize somebody.
Wow.
That's their job. I'm driving around, I'm seeing who's going to be slipping at the light.
Right.
So that's their job. That's their motive. They get up every night to victimize somebody.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a kid told me that they be on demon time.
Wow.
And when the kid told me that, I thought he was just playing. I thought he was playing when he said, no, man, these kids be out here wilding out, man, and they will tell you they on demon time. And I'm demon time? What? Hold on, we got a caller, Milton. Hold on 1 second. WKSH 97.7, how can I help you?
Yes, I was calling in. I was listening to the talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to give these gentlemen another perspective. I was a alternative education teacher in Houston for 20 years.
Right.
I came into the alternative department when kids were turned out of mental institutions. We went from kids who were mentally ill to behavior problems.
Right.
As teachers, we can only do so much.
That's true.
As a non-parent, because I've raised many, I have not had any of my own.
Right.
I literally relegated myself to babysitting from 8 to 3. It took a lot to tell those children that you are not an adult.
That's true.
You are adolescent. Let me give you the definition of that word. Your mind is not capable of making proper decisions under pressure.
Right.
So what happens is they do get scared, and they are just children. And we have to get them to see that you are going to be victimized because you don't have the proper education. There used to be a time where you learned something on the streets. I said, but you guys aren't even learning things on the street.
Yeah.
So let me give you some education. Let me help you understand this is a place in time. If you live, you will not be in this place 5 days from now, 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, and definitely 5 years. You're not going to want to be this way. One day you're going to say, I want to be a responsible adult. Don't let your past be the reason you continue to do wrong. I am active with any teen. I'm going to stop them. And I was like, baby, I can see the tired in you. You don't have to do this. And that's where we are missing that one little element. We have to assure them that you don't have to do this. Not blanketed, individually. Son, you don't have to do this. Let me show you how to get the same respect being a man. Young lady, let me show you that you are not the names that they call you.
Right.
You are a woman. You are a young woman. You are a young lady. You deserve to be treated as such. By the same token, you have to treat those young men, those adolescent boys, you have to give them the context clues. I won't be treated that way, so I'm not going to let you treat any other young man that way or any young woman. But it has to be us. We have to say it, and we think that that little conversation does not weigh heavy, but that's where conscious starts.
You're right.
We have to start tapping into these kids' conscious and tell them, hey, I can't babysit you from 8 to 3. You're going to have to be responsible for yourself. And if you make the wrong mistake, you could end your life literally and figuratively.
It's true.
Yes.
And the one thing we have to tell these kids, and this was my first lesson in teaching, contractions will save your life or take your life. Can't, shouldn't, won't, don't. I can do anything I want to. I shouldn't. Someone shouldn't hit you, but they can.
They can, exactly.
They need to know that those contractions are now in the present. You have to know that your rights end at the face or the bullet of another person. You stop being human once you decide to dehumanize. And we have to constantly tell them, I need to give you something respect. And I know I'm going to get some blowback from this.
Yeah, it's all right.
But
It's all
women
right.
need to understand, I know what it's like to be single. I'm not no Bible thumper, but I live right.
Right.
I'm not going to do something in the presence of a child to make them lose respect for me, because that's a key factor. If your child does not respect what you do for them, if at any time they seen you in a light that reflects the street, then you have contributed to the delinquency of that minor at that point. There are things that kids should not see and be exposed to. I know parents who had habits that I didn't figure out until I was grown. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. There needs to be some mystery and some anonymity with these parents.
That's true.
Your kid does not, you control what your child sees, hears, and does. And if you don't put your foot down, if you don't allow, if you're a woman and you can't do it, you have brothers, you have uncles, you have deacons, you have ministers. Don't get them involved in the discipline process, and then when they choose to discipline them, you come behind them and collar them. You have destroyed the whole setup.
Exactly.
So it is men out there, just like there are women out there. I'm one of them. I just had a conversation with a young lady that's going to college next year, and I was like, baby, Auntie is going to tell you the truth, because you live in a time now where everything is out there with you. But let me show you the glory in being a young woman. Let me show you the glory in knowing what you want and not compromising. And I'm out there with you. I'm a transplant to the Shreveport area. I need to be here because I need to tell these young ladies and these young men, we are here for you. I know you're scared. I know you don't know how. Let us show you.
Right.
It's okay to ask us.
It's okay.
And we need to be transparent in letting them know that we are there for them to ask. And I just had to contribute that. I am proud that there are positive black men trying to capture our sons and daughters, because if we don't catch them, we're going to have yet another generation of lost, poorly educated, from school to jail citizens.
Yes, ma'am.
You're right.
So I'm going to back you guys. I'm going to be there. If there's somewhere you meet, I'll be listening and I will be there. And we can troubleshoot as adults, but we need to be responsible for being not only our brother's keeper, but our nieces and nephews' keepers too.
Amen.
You're right.
Okay, you gentlemen have a good evening.
And
And
thank you
for
so much.
listening.
Thank you for calling in and tuning in, okay? Anytime, call, okay?
Yes, sir. I surely will.
All right, thank you.
And we can troubleshoot as adults.
There you have it. WKSH 97. We got another caller coming in. Hold on one second. 97.7, how can I help you? I guess they hung up.
Okay, you gentlemen have a good evening.
Thank you. One thing about it here, y'all, you don't have to be afraid to call in. We're not looking for you to be political correct or none of that. All we want you to do is voice your opinion. Say what you need to say. This is another thing that we have to be accountable as adults. I think one reason why we have so many problems in our city, because the adults are not being accountable. And now we got a lot of kids running. We're reaping what we haven't been doing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying all, because I'm not going to say all. Because it's a lot of us out here that's been trying to do the right thing. But there's a lot of us that are in high-level position, from councilman to man, I know y'all saying, why he always on them? I'm on them because I'm not seeing their presence in the communities. I'm seeing the presence on TV. I'm seeing them taking pictures, but I'm not seeing them. We don't know who the representative is over here in Ingleside. We don't know who the council member is in Ingleside. You get what I'm saying, Milton? That kind of stuff. But yet and still, we'll see them over here at Morning Star Church with goodie bags and all that. But they won't come in the community. You'll donate money to all those organizations, but you won't come in the community. And you know, I'm just being honest with you. I already told my wife and I told everybody else, hey, it might be hell for me to pay in a little bit, because I'm no longer gonna sit back and continue to let things happen that I know we should have some kind of control of.
But you know what, Johnny, and I'm gonna say this right here. Like I said, over the years, it was like felt like I've been trying to force my way into different schools. I've had a couple that have invited me in. the assistant principal over at Green Acres over in Bozeman, Stevens. Every year she's trying to get people in to talk with her kids, but so often when people are saying no, and giving you these so-called excuses or reasons why you can't come, a lot of times we keep quiet and don't say nothing.
Right.
We don't say anything because we call ourselves, I'm not going to say trying to protect them protect ourselves, but who's protecting the kids?
Yeah, we trying to protect them. We trying to say, hey,
their
look.
image.
Yeah, we trying to protect their image, their jobs, their different things. And it's time out for that.
But my thing is, like I said, who's protecting the kids? Because after the bell ring, they're on their own.
Right. You're right. It's just like in the summertime, I see kids running around here that are starving the whole summer, and they waiting to go back to school just to get a meal.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I see that so much, man. I see so much crazy stuff in these black communities, and I have to say black community because I know they're not happening in white communities.
Well, I'm gonna say this one right here. I had a principal tell me, well, we can't get you in this year. What about next year? And I asked the question. Let me ask this right here. If you knew your child was gonna die sometime this school year as a result of a homicide, but it could have been prevented by the information that I'm going to bring, would you tell me come back in next year? And then she kind of, and it's just kind of stumped her. And then I went to tell her, well, it may not be your child, but it's going to be somebody else's child.
Yes, definitely. And it's been proven. Because how many homicides we had already?
We're up to 45 this year.
And that's in Shreveport.
Shreveport.
And we're not even talking about suicides. We hadn't even mentioned that. I'm talking about
accidents, motor vehicle accidents, drinking and driving.
It's still stupid for you to fly down the street. And we all been adolescent. We all done did stupid stuff. But if we just can get them to think.
Yeah. You ought to try. I work the graveyard shift. So you ought to just see what happens on Hearn on the weekends after 12. Man, I don't care if your light is green. You better stop and look before you cross that intersection.
Milton, I done started doing it because I see people run lights, and it ain't just kids. I see grown people running lights, like the light don't even mean anything. And we're not trying to stay on a negative tip on this show. But what we are doing is trying to bring a level of fear. We are trying to bring a level of fear to you so you can understand you need to make sure that you're checking on your kids. You need to make sure that people like Milton Carroll that's trying to do the high risk behavior and other people that may have organizations out there that's trying to help your kids. Dads on duty. I don't care if they had problems with dads on duty or whatever. Look, it was a good idea. It was a great idea. And we'll tear each other down because a person will make a mistake or a person made a mistake. And you want to tear the organization down. Look, that ain't the way it's supposed to go. Okay, eliminate the person, but keep the organization going. That's all I'm saying. But the thing is with us here today in Shreveport, I'm talking in Shreveport, I'm sick and tired of people getting in office. I'm sick and tired of people claiming that they care about you long as they got to get your vote. As long as they got it. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the adults in this city letting the city down because we're letting the city down. Now we reaping all the trouble. Now we reaping all the things that we have ran away from so many years. I'm talking about my generation. My generation, we moved out the communities. Moved to the suburbs because we can get a better house. We can get a better car. We can get a better this. And now we're reaping because we didn't come back and help the community. Now we reaping everything. I call them the timeout kids. We put all our kids in timeout. Get in timeout. We didn't discipline them. We didn't do what we're supposed to do to them or chastise them or tell them, no, get in timeout. Timeout is not, you're not disciplining no kid in no timeout. Come on, man. We have to do better as a city. We got to put people in office that care about our communities as well. And for as a school system, we got great teachers. We got great principals. We have great organizations that are in the school system, but we need to do better. We need to do better in the sense of loving these people, trying to help these people, trying to show them that they are worth something. We're steady chopping down teachers. We steady chopping down all these organizations that are trying to do something to get a photo op. We got great teachers. Or just to stand there and say, hey, look, we did this and we did that. I mean, all the schools, the books giveaway, all the supply giveaway right now. I applaud that. Thank you, Jesus, for helping the people that need help. But
let me ask you this right here, Johnny. What's more important, the lives or the supplies?
Right now, I think it's the supplies. I'm just hey, whoever that was trying to call back, we don't have a, you can call 318-779-0459. If you missed it, we're talking to Mr. Milton Carroll. He's with High Risk Behavior, and his organization tried to teach kids. You explain it, Milton. Tell them, just run it by him one more time.
We go into the different schools and different places, educating the kids on high risk behavior and premature deaths. So we give them exit skills and different tactics to use to remove themselves from peer pressure situations that may eventually cost them their lives. We point out common factors involving homicides, suicides, motor vehicle accidents, overdose. So we educate them and make them aware of all of this. Make them aware of a lot of events that take place prior to people losing their lives.
Right.
And so this is like information that they can use here, high school, and college. I mean, it's a life skill,
right.
Life skills, And I think, that a lot of it has been taken out, Really, there's only two places that were captive audiences for youth. School was one, church used to be the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you're trying to make a change within the community, school is the ideal place to be there to start giving this information and thing. So we want to get that information to the children, to the teachers, to the parents, and start changing behavior, how they respond to different things. Because a lot of the kids are under the myth that, hey, just as long as I'm hanging out with them and I'm not doing them wrong, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, but if that person you hang out with shoots somebody and you don't say nothing about it, okay, you're an accessory now.
Mm-hmm.
They have part of the truth a lot of times when they're doing different things.
They done stole a car and you riding in. I ain't stealing. Yeah, but you riding in a stolen car.
Yeah, and you already know before the guy gets it. He doesn't own a car.
Right.
So why are you even getting in the thing?
And then, and now we've been having so many people breaking in, young kids breaking in and stealing guns out of cars and stuff like that. If you're in possession of a stolen gun and it has a body on it, that's on you.
Exactly.
You got to prove that wasn't me.
Take their life. Yeah.
Right. And kids need to understand this. It's just like when the police pull you over here in Shreveport or anywhere in the country. If a police pull you over, do what he asks you to do.
Exactly.
If he violates you.
But they look at these videos where the person gets into the debate with the officer and stuff, and then they cut their cameras on and put it on. And it could be something just simple as officer like, hey man, your back tire on flat, just let you know you need to pull over.
Right.
And, so and the thing is, when you cooperate, like I said, just cooperate.
Right. If they do anything against your rights and anything like that, then we bring it up.
Yeah.
But at least have the opportunity to be here.
Don't resist. Exactly. You're exactly right.
Hey, man, like I said, 318-779-0459. If you have any comments or anything you want to add on to what we're saying, we're dealing with Milton Carroll with high risk behavior. And I appreciate everyone that called in. And we're going to try to, like the young lady said, we wish we could have it every week. We might have to just add it every week instead of once a month. Because I'm really trying to help my friend. Because my friend has dedicated his life to helping our kids. Your kids. He's dedicated his life to it, and I know this for a fact because I done went with him on different occasions to different events he had, provided sound or whatever it was he ever needed. You know what I'm saying? So we need to understand that we need to catch him now because we done let a lot of them go. We have not been responsible as adults and to direct these kids in the right path that they should go. So now is the time that we can try to catch some of them and try to put them on the right path.
Exactly.
And we got to do it.
And I'm going to say this right here, Johnny. A lot of the kids that I talk with, I start talking to them, those that are involved in high-risk behavior, and I just ask them simple things like, well, what does you want to do in life? What is it that you want to be? And you know what they always say? I don't know. And it's not that they don't know what they don't want to become or be. But they've been told so many times, well, you don't have the grades to do that. Well, you're not smart enough to do that. And basically steal their dreams, you know.
Right.
So it's amazing. Now, you'll fight somebody tooth and nail if you ride that bicycle to the store and you come out of the store and somebody on that bicycle. You'll fight them tooth and nail over the bicycle, but you'll let somebody take the most valuable thing from you and not even fight for it. So what I really believe is our kids have to start again dreaming and know that, hey, yeah, you can still be what you want to be, but you may have to take a non-traditional route.
Right.
It may be a little bit longer or a little bit harder going this way now since you've done all these things right here in the past or because you don't have the grades, you know. So
and you don't have to be the smartest kid.
No.
Eliminate that myth.
Yeah.
Most of the rich billionaires and people in the world today are not the smartest people. And I'm not trying to downplay education, but I'm just letting you know, man. I know kids that were in special ed back in school, and they're entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
Because you develop through those years, and once you develop, that's when you start creating who you are. From that little learning stage that you couldn't hardly read or you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that, hey man, you develop from that.
Exactly. But look how far you've come, even, you know, from the musician to now radio station owner.
I was riding the short bus.
Yeah. Right behind the driver.
I was so bad I had to sit behind the driver.
There you go.
What we're just saying, man, I hope people are taking the time out to listen and to really focus on what we're trying to say today, man. High-risk behavior, Mr. Milton Carroll. He's been doing this for years. He worked with the coroner's department. He done seen many deaths. He done seen many people that made the wrong decisions in life. And he's just trying to curb it and say, look, man, think about it. Just think about this. Don't continue to go down the path that you're going when you can do something different.
Exactly.
And I'm holding the people accountable in the city, in the school city.
And like I said, also, you know, making the parents aware that there's a lot of roadblocks that are in our way that are preventing us from talking to the kids, you know.
Right.
Like I said, we find time for what's important to us, but we need to make sure that we can make time for things that are vital for these kids.
Exactly. Milton, anything else you want to add to this, man?
That's pretty much it.
Because, you know, I want us to understand, man, that we have organizations, we have people in this town, in this city that care. But because they're not a part of cliques, or because they're not a part of this or part of that, they're not getting the opportunity to even voice their opinion or show what they can offer to the community or to even to schools. I think it's ridiculous that this man had to go around, try to go around principals and the superintendent and people like that to try to get this out there. That's crazy to me. And hey, you can tell them you want to. It don't matter to me. Johnny Antoine at 97.7 said, it's not the opinion of 97.7, it's my opinion. Because I have been with Milton and I have seen it so many times that he done went to school after school, principal after principal, excuse after excuse. But guess what? Your kids are dying.
And then picking bodies up that night.
Exactly. I'm seeing this. So if you got a problem with it, hey, you just got a problem with it. We have to be straightforward on this. Hold on, man. We got another caller. 97.7, how can we help you?
Hey, I'm not on the air.
Yes, you are. You're still on the air. We second calls. Got called back. Exactly. And like I'm saying, I'm just putting it out there, man. It is important, man, that we take the time out to really help our communities. Milton is doing that, and he's volunteered his time. Hey, if the man asking for funding to help him be able to move forward and do different things, do that. That's crazy to me. Why would you not? I'm just putting it out. Man, I can go through the things that they done pay DJs to come into schools and to play vulgar music.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, I done seen this. This ain't nothing I'm talking about. This ain't nothing I'm just saying. I done seen them do this. I done seen them come up with all kind of different things in the school system. But yet and still, you can't come up with a preventive measure. A guy that's got a organization that want to help save your kids. You cannot come forward and help them do that. Hey, man, somebody in the school system need to wake up. Some of these churches and all these pastors and all them need to wake up. We're not helping these kids. We're not saving them.
And that's one thing also. Also had a minister that was telling me that, that he would, let me talk to his youth, but he just felt like death wasn't the right topic. And then, like I told him, well, if you don't have a body, you don't have a soul to minister to.
Wow.
So, he kind of took a double take after that. But,
that's
and like I told him, ministry is about what? Serving others. So that's to me, this is ministry.
That is. It is just that's straight ministry, man. But you know what I'm saying? But we don't went so far from the church. We don't went so far from being responsible adults and out there in the community really working because we're afraid of kids and what they'll say. I seen a young guy was in the store around here on a Midway Market, and the guy had a gun sticking out his belt. And I said, hey, man, I said, you know what? I said, you bringing trouble to you, right? I said, because if I see that gun, they see that gun. And I said, when they come to you, they're not going to come to you, or if you do anything or they do something to you, they're going to come to you with a gun too.
Or they perceive you as a threat.
Even
though you may not be a threat.
Right. So I was telling them, man, put the gun away. Don't do it that way, man. What reason are you walking in the store with a gun?
And then the thing is, if you have to carry a gun, you need to stop going where you going or stop hanging with whoever you're hanging
exactly. with. That's the way I see it too, Milton. But that's neither here or there. But what we're gonna do, man? Hopefully, man, Milton, if you want to, man, I don't know your off days or and all that kind of stuff, but we need to get a set time and a set date to where our listeners can tune in and listen to what you have to say, and because you have a platform here at 97.7, because we want to make sure you got that platform. We want you to ever have that excuse again that you don't have a platform where you can't talk and try to help the kids.
Yes, sir.
And more importantly, even though the kids may not be listening, but the adults are listening, and that's even more important, because you just heard a mother just tell you that she did all that she could do for her son.
Exactly.
To help him. But it could have been someone out there that could have helped him and just say, hey, man, you don't need to do that. You need to back away from that. And that mother wouldn't even have to be dealing with a death.
Exactly.
She wouldn't even have to deal with losing her son. But we don't move away from each other so much until we just don't even care anymore. We got to correct that. We got to correct that and change that. Anything, last words, Milton, before we leave?
No, sir.
You want to tell them how they can get in touch with you?
Yes, I can be reached. My phone number is 318-207-8058. That's 318-207-8058. And if you can't get in contact with me over the phone, just remember I work for the coroner's office, so you can call there and just leave a message or
ask
your
for
name
and
ask for me, and they'll send me an email or of some type to respond to you.
And also, he has a website.
Yes,
on Facebook, right?
On Facebook, look up under high risk behavior prevention. That's high risk behavior prevention.
And leave a message if you have to. And if you want to, also, 97.7 The Heat, we're here, and all you have to do is call 318-779-0459. Leave a message, and I will definitely get it to Milton Carroll. We have all these churches with youth departments. We have all these schools that have all these different organizations. Look, we need to get together, and we need to try to have some kind of solution for them, some kind of answer for them. We got to, man. And if you don't think it's serious, call and talk to Milton. And Milton will tell you the different bodies that he pick up night after night. Kids that are suiciding. And that's the crazy thing, man. I done seen so many suicides that came up, Milton. I know I keep going back and forth, but I'm saying this because these ain't old people.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing now, because during my presentation, one of the drills that I do, I give them some labels, and these are the same labels that we put on the body bags.
Wow.
And they're not aware of it first. They're filling it out, putting their name on it, and then when it comes to the date of death, they stop. And I'm like, well, I want you to write on there, when do you think you'll die? And some put a couple of years. I mean, just
a couple of years.
A couple of years, yeah.
God,
I'll be glad if I can just make it to 35. That's old.
did I sound country? Golly. If that's not crazy, a couple of years.
A couple of years.
Man, look at that expectation. They don't even have a long-term expectation with their lives.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you think this is a joke, this is not a joke. High risk behavior, Mr. Milton Carroll. You can call him at what number again?
318-207-8058. That's 318-207-8058. Or contact the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office and leave your name and ask them to get the message to me.
And also, don't forget high risk behavior on Facebook. If can they leave a message? Can they leave a message on that, Milton?
They can.
You can leave a message there, and you also can call 318-779-0459. And I would definitely get the message to him if you need him for any of your organizations. And if the school, Caddo Parish School, or DeSoto Parish School, or the ML Parish,
DeSoto brings me in. They bring me in.
Oh, they bring you in pretty regular?
They're at the schools, the high school, the junior school, and the library down there. So DeSoto Parish, they're on it.
That'll work. We got one other caller. 97.7, how can I help you? If you need it for any of your organizations, and if the school, Caddo Parish School, or the DeSoto Parish School, or the ML Parish,
DeSoto brings me in. They bring me in.
Support
They're at the schools, the high school, the junior school, and the library down there. So DeSoto Parish, they're on
I'm
it.
riding in the car.
That'll work. We got one other caller.
Y'all, and I'm in tears.
97.7, how can I help you?
I'm trying to save my 16-year-old son. I don't want to lose him to the street. And we got to do something. We got to come together and do something because it's a shooting in Shreveport every day or every other day. And I don't want to lose my child that way.
You won't.
I don't want the next person to lose their child that way. I deal with 50 mothers. I can name 50 mothers right now that have lost a child to gun violence. We just completed our first year of Moms on a Mission, and we had a event for mothers last year. This year we had our second event. Each year we honor 25 mothers that lost their children to gun violence. When I was living in Lakeside, I was feeding the kids, 45 kids every day.
Wow.
For 6 months when COVID first hit because Booker T wasn't serving the lunch. I cooked for my household, so my baby was getting food, the food that I cooked for the house to the kids in the neighborhood.
Wow.
So I ended up feeding 45 kids every day for 6 months.
Wow.
And I moved from Lakeside because the tree kept falling on my house. That was the Lord telling me to move. But since we moved, two of those kids, a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, have been shot and killed since we left Lakeside. So I ended up
That is crazy.
and this just got to stop.
Yeah.
I saw the 17-year-old leaving from school from Booker T. He had to walk past my house to go to his house where he was gunned down.
Yeah.
He was shot over 10 times. I told my son, call over there and see who was that and got shot. And the person he called was the person that got shot.
Wow. Wow.
So it's just something we got to do.
Yeah.
I gotta raise my son in Shreveport.
Yes.
And it's not safe.
Yeah.
Violence go on everywhere, but Shreveport just too small to have a shooting almost every day.
Yes, ma'am.
It is.
So can you please, can we meet?
Yes.
I buy you lunch.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for my lunch at Walking by Faith because I was eating one day and I went today and got my lunch, my free lunch from you. So thank you for that. But Mr. Carroll, I'll pay for your lunch if you
Look,
just sit down with
I'm ready to meet with you.
Conflict resolution for these kids.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. You got my number, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I done called you.
Oh, that was you? Oh, okay. I passed the phone to my daughter. That was you. Okay. Oh, I'll be giving you a call as soon as I get off this microphone.
Okay, thank you.
In
Yes, ma'am.
anything.
And thank
for having these conversations on the radio. People
Yeah.
need to hear this. People
Yes,
need to
ma'am.
get involved. Parents need to
you
get
have my number,
involved.
correct?
I'm trying to host programs.
Okay.
with parents. I'm not the best
Oh, that was you. That
but
was
I
you.
do have
Okay.
some college
I passed the phone to my daughter. That was you. Okay. I'll be giving you a call as soon as I get off this microphone.
5.0 GPAs.
Yes,
my
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
kids on my
Anything-
last
And
baby.
thank.
We living in these times right here.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So
You know what?
I want to be the example for him because he got the example with his siblings. So I'm trying to be the example with my organization.
I want to tell you something also.
We need to make contact as soon as possible.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Johnny B, for holding these conversations on the air because people need to hear this.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know what? I don't want you living in fear. Don't live in fear of losing your son. Don't live in fear. I know it's there, but just trust the Father. He gonna take care of you. He gonna do what exactly he need to do with us having these conversations and doing the things we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring it to fruition and let people know that life is important,
Yeah.
and we need to choose life and not death.
Fail to realize. I was talking to some kids
I know
from
it's there.
Southwood.
But
I
just
told them,
trust the Father.
I said,
He gonna take care of
do
you.
you think you
He
coming
gonna do
back
what
from
exactly
death?
he need to do.
Yeah.
With us
You
making
think the person
having
you
these
kill coming back,
conversations and
or
doing the
if you
things
die,
we're doing.
you coming
That's
back?
what
I
we're
say
trying to do.
Jesus ain't
We're
even
trying to
came
bring
back
it to
yet.
fruition.
Yes, ma'am.
So what makes you think you
That
gonna
life
come
is
back?
important.
You know, and that's one thing. You know, I when I talk with I ask them. You know, everybody knows what the acronym of RIP stands for. Yeah, everybody's like, yeah, rest in peace. You know, I'm like, okay, why don't you think for now? One, R, death is real. I, death is irreversible. P, death is permanent. You know, and I even had one kid that jumped up, you know, yelling, YOLO, you only live once. You know, kind of like that flag to say, well, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. And before I knew it, I yelled back at him, Yodo, you only die once too. And he just kind of shut up then, you know.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. That's the mindset of some kids. Not all kids, but because I don't ever want to put people in a box.
Yeah.
But we got to understand we do have kids out there that do think this way.
Yeah.
And we got to change that mindset.
Yeah.
And we got to be accountable. We got to be accountable.
Their mindset.
We got to change it. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
We
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
you for even sharing your story.
I'll be calling you. I'll be calling you.
mindset of
Thank
some
y'all
kids.
so much.
Not
Yes,
all
ma'am.
kids, because I don't ever want to put people in a box. WKSH 97.7. There you listen to D.L. Hughley all day, so I don't want to hear you talking about this. You listen to Steve Harvey all day. I don't want you talking about this. This is something that we need in our communities right now. And since we are a community radio station, you got to understand that we have to start providing help and knowledge to the community. And this is the way we do it. I mean, on every level. I'm talking from housing to whatever we need, whatever. And I appreciate Milton for sticking with this, because he could have put it down a long time ago, because I know he's been doing this a long time. But since he have made it his lifelong goal is to help these kids, I'm in with him. So I hope Shreveport, I hope we're in with him also. So if you have any questions or you have anything, like I said, we're talking to Milton Carroll from High Risk Behavior, and he's a great friend of mine, and I wouldn't have him on the show if I didn't think he was a man of integrity. And I know he loved his kids as well as he loved your kids. He's just tired of seeing your kids come in through his way. You know what I'm saying? He worked with the Shreveport Carroll Parish Coroner's Office. And I know he's tired of seeing that. So, Milton, give him your number one more time, and we're going to get out of here.
My number is 318-207-8058. That's 318-207-8058. And I can also be contacted on Facebook under High Risk Behavior Prevention or at the Cattle Parish Coroner's Office. Thank you.
That's Milton Carroll, man. WKSH 97.7, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in and staying with us and sticking and staying. But, make sure they make the switch over to 97.7 The Heat. I'm your boy, Johnny B, man. Smooth Rob will be in later on. Milton Carroll with High Risk Behavior. Y'all make sure y'all go also to his Facebook page, which is High Risk Behavior also. And I want you to like his page so you can see all the different activities and things that he got going on. And you can participate or you can ask him to come and help, okay? Hey, and get on Gory, get on all of them and let them know that we need this organization in our schools. It ain't, this ain't about money. This man ain't trying to make money. This man trying to help save your kids, our kids. And the responsibility and accountability falls on us. That's WKSH 97.7. Your boy Johnny B. This man ain't trying to make money. This man trying to help save your kids, our kids. And the responsibility and accountability falls on us. That's WKSH 97.7. Your boy Johnny B.